my older brother told me something. He was dating this young lady. He said, look, actually she said, look, girls don't like guys wearing all those baggy clothes. So I started transitioning into wearing more fitted clothing. Who the fuck is that?
It's gonna happen. So, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris Jamel here, creative director, owner, founder of Lifestyle NYC. I'm happy to be, joined by one of my homies here, my great homies, my boy Jude Sainjour, the head buyer, creative director of brand new store here in Mount Vernon, New York, Shop Butterfly. What's going on, bro?
Yo.
How are you?
Thank you for having me, bro.
My guy is joining me here for the 100th interview. Very first visual interview that I've ever done for Lifestyle NYC. The 100th interview. I'm so excited to be here, so excited to be in a store like this in my hometown. And we're gonna get into it, bro. I wanna, be able to talk to you a little bit about how we got into this, how you got into this business, and just kind of just break it down on, what we can expect from out of all of this, you know what I mean? But just from background history, I know you're from Brooklyn, Talk to me a little bit about that, like coming up in Brooklyn and, getting into what you was getting into.
I grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn. To be honest, I never really saw a future in fashion or anything like that. I was just one of those kids who enjoyed, sneakers and dressing nice, right, and looking cool, trying to do it for the ladies, especially when you're younger, right? You got a crush in junior high, you're trying to have the freshest kicks, but so I started off in Brooklyn, and then got into fashion about 10 years ago. Kind of fell into fashion on a whim, honestly. I was working at Bathe & Apes. Shout out to Bape. I used to work there for 3 years, back in my early 20s. And this kid came into the store, and he had these pretty cool kicks on. And I'm always one to compliment somebody, so I look at his kicks and I go, yo, those are really dope kicks. And he's like, yo, thanks, they're mine. And the Brooklyn person in me was like, yeah, I know, smart guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. No, but he was really trying to tell me they were his. Like, he made them, he designed them. Fast forward 2 weeks later, me and this kid kept in touch via Twitter. This is when Twitter was really, really big. We kept in touch via Twitter, messaging each other back and forth. He was in New York on vacation with his family. And then before he left, he was like, yo, you want to meet up for coffee? So we met up for coffee, had like a 2-hour conversation, dude. He just asked him a lot of questions about fashion, et cetera, et cetera. Low-key was kind of like an interview, because before the conversation ended, he's like, yo, I'm looking for somebody to help me run my business in the U.S. I can't be here because I'm a student, but if you're willing to, I'll take a chance on you. And I was like, hell, if you're willing to take a chance on me, I'll take, I'll do the same, yeah. So a few weeks go by, first account I ever landed was Kith, Filling Pieces. So the brand I was working with was called Filling Pieces. Shout out to Guillaume, still a good friend of mine. And that got me in the industry. Everything just started fast rolling. So Kith, Bodega, and it just started growing and growing. Yeah, snowball effect, man.
I feel that. And I know you also attended college in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
You went to
Went to Kingsborough.
Yeah, word.
My associates from there.
Facts.
Yeah.
So like in this particular time, like where was your head at when it came to streetwear? Like how does like a young Jude in college trying to figure everything out? You know what you want, you know how fashion has been presented to you, but like where was your mindset at this time, and like what was the fashion in Kingsborough College at that time? Because like I know this was, a little minute ago.
Oh yeah, I'm a little old, so you gotta give up my age. I'm 35. I don't mind telling people, but I went to school in like 2003, 2004 when I started. So
2000 fashion was wild.
It was wild. It was like either you were like D4L with like a 4X T-shirt, or you were transitioning into the Kanye Pharrell phase where they had that. So my older brother told me something. He was dating this young lady. He said, look, actually she said, look, girls don't like guys wearing all those baggy clothes. So I started transitioning into wearing more fitted clothing. Who the fuck is that?
It's gonna happen. So yeah, back to it. Kingsborough Community College. Let's talk about the 4XTs.
Oh man, it was a terrible era of fashion, bro. At least in my mindset. A terrible era of music too, at least, I think. Yeah. Whatever. I was in that 4XT phase, and my older brother's girlfriend at the time was like, look, nobody wants to deal with a guy who's wearing super big. Like, girls don't like that, like, super big T-shirt, baggy jeans look. So right around the time Kanye was coming up, the college dropout, etc. So I slowly started transitioning over to that more fitted look and wearing smaller t-shirts that actually fit, I should say. So yeah, that was my fashion sense in college. And then obviously I'm still a New York cat, so wearing the Jordans and the Air Force Ones, etc. Like, that's always been ingrained in me. So yeah, that was fashion sense.
In New York, we all know New York has definitely played a huge role in just fashion in general. Like, New York City is one of the fashion capitals, you know what I mean? So from you coming through this phase of, like, all right, you're going through college, you mentioned Bodega, Filling Pieces, like, these kind of played intricate roles in who you are. Who, outside of Kanye, obviously you just mentioned, like, who else did you look into for that sort of fashion inspiration? And, like, why? Like, why was this sort of fascinating thing to you?
Definitely Pharrell, the Clips. You know, like I said, I worked at Bape for a while, so definitely looked up to those kind of guys. Somebody I really looked up to because I just loved his fashion sense, was always just so, like, out there. Andre 3000.
Andre 3000 always had a weird sort of his own style.
But I loved it. It was just so, because for me, I believe there's two different things. There's fashion and there's style. And I think that, like, people follow fashion, they follow trends, etc. Like, style is just like your own individual taste on it. And I like to just have my own style. I don't necessarily say I follow trends. Yes, I buy some hot pieces that are currently hot at the time, yes, but I like to just live in style because I think style is eternal.
Yeah.
That'll never change. If you have your own individual swag, you can't beat that.
That's what that was gonna be my next question. I'm happy you brought that up as far as, like, style and fashion, because we live in an era now where people think style is wearing designer pieces, and we know that's not really the case, you know what I mean? So, like, how would you personally describe your style? Like, if you had to sort of go through a day of, like, what you're gonna wear, what you're gonna put together, like, how would you describe your personal style?
I've tapered down my style quite a bit. Like, in my early years, like my college days, I would blow a bag and wear all types of crazy $400 jeans and just wilding out, right? But now I'm more laid back. I'm a father now. I'm chill. I'll throw on, like, a chill T-shirt and call it a day. Like, I have on a Supreme tee, a Noah hoodie. I think these are H&M jeans. I don't nothing crazy, but I have on some. Always got the good jeans, but I have some Gabriel Salcedo sneakers on. These are probably the most expensive things I have on now. I think they're like $550 or something like that. I don't want to say the price too loud, but yeah, no, that's So I like to have a good balance. So you see me with some high-end things on, but then I also have, like, some pretty affordable things, fast fashion.
Yeah, facts. And coming from where you coming from with your fashion background, you've also done some consulting, right? Like how was that experience for you, being able to not only kind of give your 2 cents when it came to brands, but now you have the opportunity to work with multiple brands at the same time?
It's been cool because I have a passion for just helping people in general. So, like, for me, like, a consultant, it's a good way to help people, but also get paid for it, you know. And I've also, to be completely honest, I've also consulted and helped other brands for no charge. Like, but it's just been off the love and the relationship. I guess that's what really lets me do it for free. But, you know, you got to get paid, right? So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
What was some of, if you had to pick a brand that you really, like, you feel you put your stamp on in the consultation world? Because I know you've worked with a couple of them.
Yeah, I worked with a couple brands. Who can I say, man? There's a brand, Message in a Bottle, that, like, she was just looking for wholesale help and I just gave her some pointers and I didn't ask for any money or anything like that, but her brand was successful before me, so I'm never gonna take the credit and say, oh, I made her brand or whatever the case is. But that's one of those instances where I said I just like helping people, so I just gave her some pointers on, you know, where to go wholesale direction wise and how to go about it, and yeah. Now she's in Target. She's big. Yeah, she's
that's
big.
actually why I ran into the brand in Target.
So it's good to see the growth for that brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Black owned too, so.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
So in this, as we transition into, you know, later in your life, you ended up over at Extra Butter, where you held the job there for nearly 2 years.
Oh,
somewhere around, yeah, as a head buyer, right? how was that experience for you, being able to like now be in a space where you can sort of control what comes in and how things are, sort of arranged there?
That was a cool experience, man. I mean, to be honest, that experience actually helped me to be prepared for this. Because the guys that we were working with, there were a couple of people who were super pivotal in that company who helped me out along the way. And those guys, they've been in the industry forever. And they taught me so much, taught me, the grind, how to be hungry about certain product and, just certain mindset. I think I also helped them as well because they were transitioning from just being a sneaker boutique and moving into the fashion world, like carrying actual, ready-to-wear products. So I also helped them transition into that space. But yeah, I learned a lot from those guys, man.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually about maybe a couple weeks ago because I know they were primarily known for selling sneakers. And I started noticing that they had, like you said, ready-to-wear pieces like on the racks and all of that. And I was kind of wondering, like, how did that happen? Like, were you involved in that, like 100%?
Definitely, that was it. My era was making that transition from just being that popular sneaker boutique to changing into like a full-out lifestyle store. So like, I think this is a true fact. I sold, I think in 1 6-month period, I sold more accessories than they did in any 1 year. Because that was something that they were missing out on, accessories. So I was like, yo, accessories are such an easy add-on sale at the register. Like people see us like a lighter or a sticker or something like that. Like it's just an easy add-on. So that was like one of the things that I helped with.
And from a creative direction, like just for the people who don't know, because I think a lot of people get it confused on what a creative director is or what they actually do. You know what I mean? Like I think people throw the title out there, but they don't really know what a creative director is. Speak to what a creative director is and what the job title entails.
It's such a loose, such a broad spectrum. But for me, creative director-wise, so I oversee like the creative side of Butterfly as a whole. So I'm in charge of like social media, our in-house apparel, the buying aspect, just the way we look within campaigns and like in our like lookbooks, etc. So that's what my creative director role is. I mean, it could be different for other people. Yeah.
Copy. So we get right into it. Shop Butterfly. Here we are right now. Brand new store again in Mount Vernon, New York. I was very surprised to see a store like this when I first linked up with you about a month ago or something, and I was like, man, the city has never had a store like this. I don't even think Westchester has ever had a store like this. So to be able to see it and visualize it and see you like actually put the pieces together for it was amazing. But talk a little bit about like why you decided to do it, especially after going through a whole year of pandemic and financial crisis everywhere. Like what were the thoughts going through your mind as you were coming into this project?
I linked up with 2 really good cats that wanted to bring something to the community. One of the owners actually lives not too far from here, and he's been a sneaker enthusiast his whole life. He's been one of those guys that bought sneakers, collected sneakers, resold them at a certain point, and he was just like, I want to open a retail boutique, but I have no like real know-how of how to do it. And because I had the experience at Extra Butter, it taught me how to run, along with being a manager at certain retail establishments. Like I worked with the band Mishka. I was a manager there at their Brooklyn flagship store for a while. That taught me what I needed to do to run an actual business. So fast forward to now, when he said he needed help, it was kind of just like, I know what to do. Yeah. So I mean, if you trust me with the vision, then we can put this together. Yeah. And he did, thank goodness. And yeah, fast forward, unfortunately 8 months later, took a few delays, but 8 months later we're here. Yeah.
Was the name a consensus thing? Like, did you guys all agree on the name, or did somebody pitch it, somebody take it? Like, how did the name come about?
So one of the partners pitched it, and it just kind of stuck to us because Butterfly, like, there's so many different meanings behind it. Like, obviously in New York, the word butter, the old school term slang butter, was like, that's another way to say cool or fly, right? Yeah, or fly is another word to say dope, right? So it's like butterfly. But even looking at it from a deeper standpoint, it's like, when you come in here, this is your metamorphosis from a caterpillar to a butterfly. So we're trying to help you in that metamorphosis. So that's why we call it Butterfly at the essence.
And I would assume that the helping aspect is making sure people come in and get some dope shit, some fly shit. All right.
Yeah, we want you to come in here, get your drip, you know, walk out of here feeling like a new person. Like, we want you to buy something and throw it on, and as soon as you cop it, throw it on and walk out with it. You know what I mean? Like, and we want you to feel that confidence because we know, you know, Deion Sanders, right? When you look good, you play good. you know the whole. So, yeah, prime time is the real deal. So that's what we on right now.
Nice. And what was the inspiration behind the aesthetic of the store? Because again, coming from somebody who's lived there their entire lives, this is nothing like anything else in Westchester. And you come from a fashion background, you've worked in a couple places, you kind of have an eye for how a store should be set up, how it should look. The guys that you work with, were they on board with the vision? Like, I would assume a lot of this probably came from you.
Absolutely, yeah. So I actually designed a store. Working in fashion and having the great blessing to travel the world and see all of these great shops. I've been to like so many different countries to see different shops. Like that experience, like it got molded in my head. Like it got stuck in my head, like seeing all these wonderful shops. So I, took little pieces, bits and pieces from here and there, and obviously threw my own flavor with it. But that's how the shop kind of came about. But I definitely wanted the shop to be a clean space. And I wanted it to be like a kind of yin and yang effect. So we actually have a VIP room that's actually not open yet, but it will be open in the coming weeks. And that's like a completely different vibe from what you see in this main room here. So this main room is white floors, white walls, but we have a little bit of black touches and a black ceiling. The VIP room would be a complete opposite. So it's gonna be like a black ceilinged out. Like it's gonna be a good look. Yeah.
So I have another main question in regard to the location. Why not Soho? Why not Brooklyn? Why not the Bronx? Like, why Mount Vernon?
You look at it geographically, there's nothing of this caliber like in the area. There are other, notable retailers that are out here, but they're not too close. And it's a geographical game at the end of it, right? It's all strategy.
Because I can tell you why this would be dope, but I can tell you from a living experience. But from a creative experience and you not being from here, like to come all the way from Brooklyn to open up a store all the way up towards the suburbs somewhere, it's like, I kind of like, what was that about?
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, a geographical, strategic, play. There's not too much out here. You look at like a Soho, Soho is really crowded. And not that we're not confident, but they definitely have some of the best stores in the world in Soho. A lot of brand stores as well. So when you think about it from trying to acquire a brand perspective, like it makes it a little bit harder. But we wanted to bring something to a community that didn't have it. We wanted to be where you don't have to go down to Soho to buy something really cool. We want you to be in your own community and circulate the dollar in your community, and that's why we picked here. So when it comes down to it, it's showing love to a hood that doesn't have anything.
Yeah, and I truly appreciate that because, again, said it a million times, and I'll say it again, this city has never had anything like this before. And I know you said that you guys had some, blessings from the people with B, the mayor and everything like that, which I think is super dope because I know they're still trying to find ways like this to generate more money and more business into the city. And living out here my entire life, there was never any sort of aspect of that. You know what I mean? Like store opens, maybe, they don't have what you're looking for. So now you really do got to go to Soho. You got to go to Fordham or something like that. You know what I mean? But from I guess you can say from a goal standpoint, you know what I mean? Like you know what you guys want to do. I'm sure you guys have a game plan or a strategy on how you would go about it. Like what would you say the top 3 things are as far as priority goes for what you want the store to accomplish?
For me, this is my personal thing, and I think the owners also feel the same way. Community, being a community-based company, and then really trying to build initiatives and grow the community and better the community is one for me, absolutely. 2 is trying to have, again, a place where people can come to. I'm trying to figure out a third one. What would the third one be? That's a good question. That's a good question. That's the first one that stumped me for sure. Top 3 priorities, but community base, have somewhere for people to come to, and then just building these connections with these brands, and showing them that you have something dope out here.
And that was going to be another question as well. Like, you guys obviously going to be carrying a lot of different brands. What brands are you excited about carrying? Like, I know you guys had a list of different things that you were going to be bringing in. If you can divulge that information.
Man, not all of them, because we have some that are coming in the fall that we gotta kind of stay secret about. But we had a couple other brands coming in. But right now, you know, we have the some mainstay brands like the BBCs, the Ice Creams, the Rock Nations. One of the brands I'm really excited about is some homies of mine. Diet starts Monday.
That's not graduate, right?
Yeah, Davin Gentry. Yeah. So Davin especially is a good homie of mine. So it's an honor to actually have his brand in store. And actually, it was the first piece to actually be sold in store. So shout out to them.
Word?
Yeah, very first piece. Man. Yeah, a hoodie was sold there.
That's dope.
Forever gonna remember that. Trying to think of what other brands. There's a couple of cool brands. Like there's one called Flair Now Home that's from Amsterdam. That's a brand that I'm pretty happy about and excited to see where it goes. And I'm hoping people have the same reaction. And Gabriel's brand is definitely something that's actually going to touch down in about a week or so. So that should be pretty fun. Yeah.
Selling that first piece probably felt amazing. Because I can, from, again, in a different lane, doing a first article for Lifestyle NYC or doing the first interview anywhere, being able to sell the first piece was probably crazy.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, especially, like I said, we had some delays in opening for about 2 months. So, yeah, getting that first piece out was just like kind of like a relief. It was like a weight lifted off of me. So, yeah.
And like, how do you feel so far since you guys have been open, which I think has only been a couple days, right?
Yes.
Like what's been some of the feedback that you might have gotten from people in the community?
The love that we receive from this community is crazy. The love is literally crazy. Like, people come in here, they're like, wow, this is like Manhattan in Mount Vernon. Like, the store aesthetic's so beautiful. Like, they don't expect something like this to be here. Like, it's just crazy. It's overwhelming. And it actually warms my heart because, we live in an era of haters. We live in the internet era, right? So to have people actually come out and show love and verbalize it, and this is dope.
That's right. I'm sure you guys probably not gonna have like a whole going out type party situation, dude.
Maybe. City's opening back up. Governor's definitely pushing things forward. So maybe some things in the works. Maybe. And you never know too. You said something about Brooklyn. Who knows? Brooklyn might need something like this too.
Are we getting exclusive? I feel that. So, to kind of wrap it up, man, we kind of touched on everything, which I truly appreciate you just divulging all of the stories and information. Again, this is an amazing store. I've had the pleasure to see it when it was, again, in the works. And now to see that it's like 95% finished is amazing. And to be able to like come back home and say, yo, my homie is a part of that. And he's a black dude. And he owns something in the city. You know what I mean? Like, that's super dope. So this is a question that I like to ask all my guests because I think it is a fair question to ask because I think everybody has their own interpretation of what it might be. So for you, being in the space that you're in, you've done everything that you've probably wanted to check off your bucket list up until this point, and now you're a part of a new establishment. What is your true definition of success? Like, what does success mean to you?
For me, success is not a monetary thing. I think people tend to correlate success with monetary aspects and stuff. Like, for me, currency is just a tool. It doesn't run the world necessarily. Success is making sure that my little man is good and that, he has a good life and healthy, safe family. That's success. Like, just living a good, happy life. Yeah.
I'm mad about that. What's fatherhood been like for you? Because I don't have a lot of friends. I don't know. We just want to wrap it up, but I don't have a lot of friends that have kids. I probably have about 2 at most, 2 or 3. But I know your little man he's a little older. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, what's fatherhood been like for you in this crazy space of fashion?
It's a lot to deal with because especially early on, like there were points where I was traveling for like 3 weeks at a time out of a month, and missing little tidbits of him growing up, but now being a part of this, I don't have to do as much traveling, which is great. So I'm able to be home with him and build with him more, and just rock out with my little man. It's a me and him kind of vibe, yeah.
All right, man. What's next? I know we rolling into a summer now. Things are opening back up, like you just mentioned. So we might be able to, really start doing events and, just having people outside. I'm sure you guys probably got some things in the works. So like, what's next for Shop Butterfly? Like, what do you see for you guys going into the summer and the rest of the year?
Hopefully, events restrictions can lift a little bit and we could do something in store. I'm super interested in that. I'm actually talking to the Mount Vernon building department now about that. We're gonna be releasing our own apparel, so we're gonna have our own in-house. Yeah,
That's gonna be fun.
Definitely. So that should be landing in a few weeks. Just looking forward to getting more product and working with these great brands brand partners that we're working with, and just keeping growing. Yeah.
Feel that, man. Feel that. 100th interview, man. Lifestyle NYC.
Thank you, y'all.
My man Jude Sainjour.
Chris.
Appreciate you, my guy. We out of here.